welcome back to SoFAB Kids. I am Miss Jenny, and today we are going to be making handmade pasta from scratch. It's going to be so fun. I already got my Italian little bunny ears on, and they light up. Pretty excited to celebrate this. Did you know that there were a lot of Sicilians who came here to New Orleans? And they brought a lot of their culinary traditions with them. In fact, anywhere you go in the city, you're going to hear the term red gravy for pasta sauce, whether or not it actually is the roux-based red gravy that the Italians then melded with the Creole culture. That's how integrated some of these Creole cooking traditions have become for us New Orleanians. So we're going to make pasta from scratch today. We're going to make it just like you might have seen back in the old days where we're going to do flour, create a well in there, put the eggs in, and then slowly get it together. I don't need many ingredients. Right here I have my flour, I've got eggs, I have my bowl so you can hopefully see, and then I have some olive oil or some vegetable oil and a glass of water. We're going to talk about this in a second. But first, let's get started. All right. I need 2 cups of water. So my 2 cups of water, I'm going to put, or 2 cups of flour. I am going to put the flour on each side of the bowl. So here we go. Shake it down. Shake it. I'm a little under a cup. Let's get some more in there. Shake it to flatten it a little over. All right. 1 on this side. We do 1 more. Perfect. Now I'm going to keep my flour over here because I'm going to need some more when I start kneading, okay? So I'm going to open up my eggs, and I need 3 eggs. Pasta can vary a lot, and it depends on the temperature of where you live, how humid it is, how much moisture is in the air, how big your eggs are. These are medium-sized eggs, so 3 should be good. If I were using large eggs, I might do 2 and then add a little water and oil later. So to crack an egg, some people do it like this on the table. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the edge of the bowl to kind of pierce it, and I'm holding it in my hand similar to how you would a baseball or a softball that you're about to throw. So I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to smash it like Hulk. I want to just do a nice little whack, put my 2 thumbs in the crack, tear it apart, and put it in the middle. Now you want to make sure that you've got a little bit of a well here, and so I'm going to smoosh this around. You want it to look similar to a volcano, and in the middle of the volcano is where you're going to crack your eggs. Here we go. All right, that's 2, so I need 1 more. Here we go. And all right. So my eggs are right in the center, right over here. You can kind of see them dripping in there, but you'll notice that flour is surrounding the whole thing. I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to pierce the yolks like this. And the yolks are that orange yellow part. And then in my well, my little flour volcano, I'm going to slowly start whisking the eggs together. Small circles, and I want it to start to look to be the same consistency like scrambled eggs. You'll notice that the eggs themselves kind of go against the flour. We're going to use that wetness to our advantage, kind of like when you're at the beach and you've got a wet foot and sand sticks to it as you go. That's what we want our egg center to do. So I'm going to take this over to you real quick. Get some light. Woo! Without pushing it too much. You want that yolk to be kind of all together in the center. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to curve it like this, and I'm going to start slowly spiraling that egg mixture so that the walls of the flour start going into it. Slowly though. It's going to look like cheesy scrambled eggs in the middle. That's good. Once you get to about the middle part where you've used up half the flour and it's in there, you are going to start forking the flour from the side into the wet part using your fork. Just kind of get that flour into the egg yolk. Make sure to scrape the sides and put it in. And it's looking like this is actually a kind of dry day. Use your fork to separate the dough so you can see wet spots. And so you can flip the flour in there. All right, so one of the ways that I know that this is almost ready is it's starting to flake, kind of like a scab does with the skin coming off. You're gonna be able to see it looking a little bit. Let's try and get some light there. Like this, a little stretchy, but it's got some flakes and scabs. It's very soft. We want it to actually be a little wet. So now that it's all starting to look a little bit flaky, I'm going to take my hands, which are clean, and I'm going to take this off the fork. But before my hands get too sticky with stuff, I'm going to take a little bit of flour and I'm going to sprinkle it on my cutting board over here. This is where I'm going to be kneading it. All right, get the flour and you're going to start pushing it together with your hands and then your knuckles. A lot of times when I'm teaching classes, I like to say it's like puppy paws. When you're kneading, put your hands up like a puppy and you're going to go back and forth like this from the palms to the knuckles. And then you're going to scoop it into a ball, flatten it with the balls of your hand until it gets into a ball. The dough it does, all on its own. So I have a lot of extra flour going on right now, which means I actually need a little bit more moisture in my dough. This should be looking more yellow, and right now it's looking very white. So what I'm going to do with my eggshells that I've saved over here is I'm going to basically replicate another egg. I'm going to take my eggshells. Also, when you break an egg, you have a small side and a large side. With the small side, I'm going to fill that with vegetable oil, and that oil replicates the yolk. So I'm going to fill it up, drizzle it in there, and then with the large side, I'm going to fill that with water, and that is going to replicate the egg whites. Okay. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to push it in. It really depends on what kind of climate that you guys have. Here in New Orleans, we're usually very humid, and so the humidity will work very well to the advantage of the dough. That being said, even though we're at about 80 some degrees right now, it is not humid enough for my dough, and I need all of this flour. So I'm pushing down with the palms of my hands, and then I'm turning it into a ball and then flattening it down again. We're going to see this in just a second when I move it over to knead it. Okay. Go. It should stick to your hands a little bit. It's not fun, but you know you're doing something right when that's the case. All right. So here's what kneading looks like, okay? So we're getting actually pretty good on here. Let's see. Oh, it's just so bright. It's hard to show you. See how it's flaking a little bit on the side like that? That's good. That means it needs about 5 minutes of kneading. So I'm going to put it in a bowl or in a ball and push it down with my hands like this. Then I'm going to curl it and I'm going to push it down again. The consistency that I'm looking for when I know that this is ready is it's going to be yellow instead of white, and it's going to be smooth instead of flaky or scabby. It's also going to have little bumps in it, and those bumps in the smoothness, that is the gluten developing, curving it around, putting it into a ball. It's all curvy. Smush it together and then smush it down again. Oh yeah, this dough is looking hot to trot. All right, we are almost there. Get those edges around. Turn it into a ball again. And then I have some breakage on the top. Ooh, can I see? So I want to make sure that's done. So I'm going to put my full weight into areas that are still looking a little scabby and not looking like this beautiful, smoothish yellow. And then I'm going to turn it into a ball one more time. And I'm going to use the heel of my hand to push it down. All right. Here we go. All right. What I'm hoping you see is now it is yellow and it has these little bumps in it, but it's smooth, right? It's not flaky anymore. So I'm going to even out the edges like this. Push it down just a little bit so it's nice and flat. Then I'm going to get my saran wrap right over here and get a big old chunk of that. And I'm going to put my dough flat in the middle, put it around, make sure it's totally covered on the sides. And then I'm going to pop this in the fridge for an hour, and then we're going to roll it out. It should be nice and soft, not hard or stiff, kind of like Play-Doh.